I'm Deborah Fries, founder and president of Boston Impact Initiative and a professor at Tufts University. And today's conversation, I think, is one of the most exciting ones we're going to have for this entire curriculum. And it's a conversation about what might it look like to engage in liberatory economic practices. So I have a fantastic guest with me to help us understand liberatory economic practices. This is Nia Evans, the executive director of the Boston Ujima Project. And Nia, you are in this field that people watching may not even understand what it is. We're going to explain it, but tell us how you found your way to Ujima, and then we'll get into what Ujima is later.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Deborah, and thank you for having me here. Just prior to joining Ujima, I was actually the executive director of the Boston branch of the NAACP. And at the time, I was interested in participatory budgeting. Through a series of events, working on thinking about things like school budgets, the Olympics, which was a big conversation in Boston at the time.
I remember we did not want it. Some of us did not want it to come here.
Right. Some of us, I think a good number of us didn't want it to come here. What we felt, though, was that the more important conversation was just how planning and development occurs in our communities, because we didn't know that this conversation was coming. We checked around with Urban League, Lawyers for Civil Rights, and organizations that were working with Black and Brown communities just had no idea this conversation was coming. So we were more interested in the process. How are communities of color involved in big decisions in our communities? And one of the mechanisms I became interested in was participatory budgeting.
Which is,
oh man. I don't have a formal definition that I use. So I'll say the way I kind of, I guess, on a daily basis understand participatory budgeting is just essentially expanding the amount and kind of decision makers when it comes to things like municipal budgets, for example. So I think we largely see participatory budgeting when it comes to municipal budgets. We'll talk about it later, but at Ujima, we've adapted that to the investment process.
Right. So community members, citizens are people living in the community having a chance to say where their government dollars are going.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you. That was a good definition.
Well, that's what you said.
Yeah.
So.
And we had a youth participatory budgeting initiative. So I was aware of that. And one of the people who were instrumental in that was Aaron Tanaka, which is Ujima's co-founder.
And the first managing director of Boston Impact Initiative.
Yes, right? Yes, exactly. And so I became interested in what it would look like for all residents to be able to participate in this process. And a few people pointed me towards Aaron, just in thinking about participatory budgeting again and community-led development. And I learned about Ujima. I thought it was amazing and became the first director.
Okay, well, we'll get into the Ujima story in a little while, but we have some framing to do first.